Good morning. We're here at Tree of Life Nursery, and my name is Mike Evans. I'm here with Kevin Ellison behind the camera. We've got Dakota, the nursery dog, always a sidekick. We're going to talk about something that's super important. That's planting a plant in the ground from a container, but that's doing it right. So we're calling it Plant It Right. It's super important because it's the one time you have, the one chance you have to get it right. And also in the case of trees and many shrubs, I don't care how old you are, they may outlive you. So it's worth taking your time to do this right. All right, so we've dug a hole, and I like to say the hole is always there. You just have to get the dirt out of the way to find it. And what we do is we make the sides of the hole rough, textured, so that the roots will not coil round and round. And a traditional size for the hole is the old adage, twice as wide and half again as deep. So this Manzanita Arctostaphylos sylvicola ghostly, a beautiful shrubby form, is about 10 inches across by about 10 inches deep, 8 inches deep in the root ball. So we've got a hole that should be 20 inches across, and 8 plus 4 would be 12 inches deep. And this makes it twice as wide and half again as deep. Another system that we like to talk about from time to time is to not make it any deeper than the root ball, only twice as wide. So with this white sage, we have a root ball that is approximately 6 inches deep and approximately 6 inches across. So the hole is 12 inches across by 6 inches deep. We'll talk about why those two different methods both work. This one, the plant root ball sits right on top of firm soil. In this one, it sits on top of soil which has been built up and amended. So this is a step that many people neglect, but it is to fill the hole with water, or at least mostly full, before you plant anything. This may cause some delays because you have to wait for the water to soak into the soil. But it's a simple process of just getting the sides of the hole wet and putting water in the bottom of the hole so it can soak into the ground, and at the same time make sure that your container root ball is not dry, and you can sort of moisten up some of the backfill if you please. Okay, we're just back from a little break. We've allowed the water to fully consume into the soil beneath the hole. By means of definition, let's talk about what these things are called. This is the plant root ball in a container. This is the hole. This is the backfill material, or the material that we'll be putting back in around the root ball in the planting hole. In this one, we have a hole that we dug deeper than the plant container, so we have amended the soil, the backfill, with a organic compost, 1/3, 2/3 in the planting hole, and we'll set the plant atop amended soil. In the plant, the white sage here, we've chosen to make the hole with a firm floor at the proper level, not deeper, no amended backfill under the root ball, and so we'll be putting that root ball directly on the firm floor of the hole. We have with us here organic all-purpose fertilizer and some bone meal. And as we plant these plants, we'll talk about that as well. Now comes the fun part. We get to plant the plant. We've made all the preparations. We have amended backfill, 1/3 amendment, 2/3 soil. We're ready here with the height. We take our root ball, never pull on the stem of the plant, turn the plant upside down, and slip the root ball, the container, off the root ball. Be very careful to not disturb the roots, especially with a manzanita. This plant is growing a little crooked in the container, but we can straighten it up in the hole by planting the root ball a little crooked. So we're going to test and see if it's the right height so that it will not be too deep. We never want this collar region of the plant to be deeper than the surrounding soil. In fact, we want it to be slightly higher. This is very important. When we go to plant the one that has the firm floor, the same rules will apply. But on this one, it's more critical because it has amended backfill under the root ball. It can settle with time with water, so you have to be very careful to make sure this collar region is slightly higher than the surrounding grade. In the next step, we'll be putting these amended soil back in around the root ball. So one of the things I really like to do when I'm planting is to make a nice environment for those new roots around the root ball in the planting hole. And you can do that with some organic fertilizer, lightly broadcast in the backfill, and also some bone meal spread into the backfill and mixed in to the backfill, so that when we return this amended backfill into the void around the root ball in the planting hole, those roots can find this very, very healthy soil that has bone meal, good for roots, and a light application of organic fertilizer. And this is a very special way to plant every plant. So the most important part of what you just saw was moistening that backfill as we're planting. That's why we have the hose at the ready the entire time we're planting, and we're making sure that every bit of soil that goes back into this hole is thoroughly saturated. This is much different than many people do it, but it is guaranteed success if you plant with water. All right, we've been adding plenty of water with our backfill. We know that our collar is slightly higher than the surrounding grade, and you can find a little stick of some sort and use it to firm up the soil, stabbing a little bit into the root ball to get the blend right. Don't damage the root ball with too much of this, but you can sort of make sure that everything is settled in. You won't have any air pockets by planting this way because the entire mass of backfill is moist. So we've planted with water, and we've seen the water at the bottom of the hole saturate into the soil beneath the hole and all around the root ball as we used water while we were returning the backfill into the void between the root ball and the outside of the hole. So this is a thoroughly moistened plant, and we even have water standing right now in the basin, the watering basin that we've created as we finished the planting. But notice that even when we water, the collar is not submerged. That said, nor is the root ball exposed. So we've planted this at the proper level, and we've backfilled it properly, we've watered it properly. You can splash a little water around on the berm to kind of cement it in place, and now we've planted the plant using water. That's the key. We have this wonderful leaf mulch, which you can have in your own garden by just finding where it piles up under existing shrubs or trees. But don't go too deep. And we're just putting a light application, less than an inch deep, around here inside the basin, and that to just keep the moisture in place and to tidy up the look, prevent erosion, and sort of make the final statement on the planting.